What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to be showing you how to make Squidward's house from SpongeBob. This just a only side note I have here. There is going to be no material list that I will provide because this will only take 9 materials, so there is no point because we will get them all at the beginning once I show you the grid and everything. Let me show you the roof. Anyway, that's all though as per usual. There is no interior and not really room for one. But with that being said, enjoy the tutorial and I will catch you on the flip side. Alrighty, so the space beneath this is a 15 by 12. Wow, that 12 is really high. I just like reuse the SpongeBob grid, so I didn't change the position. But you need, the materials you're needing for this full build are cobbled deep slate walls, cobbled deep slate stairs, spruce doors, spruce trapdoors, polished andesite stairs, polished andesite slabs, which we will use for blocks. You only need, about 8 blocks, I think? Something like that. Light blue wool, and spruce planks. As not per usual, I guess, this build is symmetrical, so just as a fair side note, you want to start from the front left-hand corner of your 15 by 12 grid. Golf. If you've made it again, if you need, you could start from the front right. But you want to count to the right by 5. And back by 1 and place a cobbled deep slate. I'm going to extend that deep slate up by 4. Change my mind. Up by 6. Like so. The top 3 cobbled deep slate will each be brought to the right by 4. And then you can just bring that end row back down to the ground. That'll give you a space for your door. So in the very center here, you want to place a spruce door off of the back half of this block. Now, I like the handle facing the other way than that, so it'll look like this. In addition, you want to just kind of surround that. From the front side, you can just crouch and kind of place spruce trap doors surrounding that door and filling in this area. And when you open them, it'll give you a nice big door. Cool. Starting, or I guess from both sides, you want to take the cobbled deep slate end rows and extend back diagonally out with a row of cobbled deep slate. We're doing both sides at the same time here. Then extend out with a row of walls. Back with a row of blocks. Back diagonally out with another row of blocks. Back with 4 more rows. And then back diagonally in with a row of blocks. Back with a row of walls. In with a row of blocks. Back diagonally in with 1, and then you'll connect together, which should be 5 rows in total. Hopefully everyone is having a good day or night. I am for the most part. If you look from above at this point, you should have a circle. A very thick circle, but a circle nonetheless. Cool. From that point, do I want to start with the nose? Yeah, we can. The front where the door is, on either side, you want to take the top 2 cobbled deep slate on the edges and just place walls in front of either one. Connect the walls together with blocks, and then you'll bring those blocks up an additional 2 rows. The center block will be brought up with 2 more blocks and then a stair facing forward. And the blocks below that stair will just be brought out with more walls. I'm also going to preemptively bring the stair back with a block, but it's not hugely important. Before we actually continue building this up, if you head to the back, I want to add a window back here. It is dead center, and it is, I believe, 1 block off the ground. 2 blocks off the ground. So you'll leave a gap of 2, and you will break the center 3 cobbled deep slate for the next 2 rows up. Place polished andesite stairs on the bottom, on the sides that kind of face towards each other, and then opposite down stairs above those. Connect them together on both the top and bottom with slabs that will kind of give you this look. Almost like giving a border. Well, it is a border. And then on the inside, a block in from that, you'll just fill it in with light blue wool. Cool. Heading back to the front, I want to take the center block on the front here, and I'm going to just kind of actually bring the center 3 blocks each up by 1. I'll then from there go out with a wall, back with a block, out with 2 walls, back by 1, back with a block, out with a wall, then back with 2 blocks, 2 walls, in with a block, back with 2 walls, in with a wall, in with a block, back with a wall, and you'll connect those walls together. You pretty much want to like make a border of blocks inside of the walls. Now, when I say this, I would actually also, just as a kind of habit thing, place them inside of the positions where there are still blocks, but to kind of almost give you a perfect circle on the inside made out of blocks, like so. You can kind of see what that gives you. The blocks on these sides here, these ones, you want to extend out with 1 row of blocks and then 1 row of walls. I will bring that full thing on both sides down with a row, which is just where I guess it overhangs. And then, including those blocks, I'll bring it up by 3 rows. These are the, I guess, ears of the totem. I'm going to call it a totem. Isn't it like a moai or whatever the frick it's called? I have no idea. Whatever the barnacle it's called. Get it? Because SpongeBob. Anyway. From the front. So essentially, for the kind of backside mainly, kind of on the front, but I'm just telling you this now because it's going to be important. You're copying the full row of blocks and walls by 6, going up 6 times, which does not include the ears. For the ears here on the side, you're just kind of going over with walls like this on that inner row of blocks, but just kind of for the idea. And for the front, same thing, sort of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 would be there. You will want to, for the center front here, well, okay, I actually don't think I should have brought up that row, but I did anyway, so it's too bad. Kind of behind the center of the nose, you would place just like this row of 3 blocks going up 3 times in total. And then above that, the top is just going to be walls like this for the top kind of 3 rows in the center. Right? Well, I do have blocks. Oh, okay, no, you would want to only go to the height of the, like, top of the nose, my bad. At least for the front. Because, yeah, where you would end up stopping with that would be this row of walls right here. It is that kind of corner on the front 2, well, corners. It would be 1 row of walls forward, and you would want to place the blocks inside, but you would just stop there. So I guess fill everything behind this point to start, and then we can focus on the details on the front. Just to kind of, I guess, make it easier. I would hope it'd make it easier to, yeah, get all of the just quick filling out of the way, and then the more intricate parts after. I forgot about the eyebrow entirely. I'm gonna be so real with you. I forgot it was a thing. So I was just like ready to just keep going and not add it. And then I was like, oh yeah, right. So true. Anyway, the kind of edges should look, or the back edges should look like this. And you can see the shaping's looking decent so far. It isn't fully done, so it's kind of hard to visualize, but on the front here, the walls on either side of the kind of nose, which would be these rows here, if you haven't brought them up, you're going to bring them up with 2 walls, a polished andesite, and then just 1 wall. Alternatively, you would place the polished andesite to the outside of this block behind the top walls on the nose. The next row of walls, well, actually the row of blocks behind it, you can just bring up to the same height, which would be 4? Yes, 4. This wall here, you'll extend up with 1 wall, a polished andesite, light blue, which should be just inside of this polished andesite, and back a row. And then one more polished andesite. And then from there, the only change on the next row from just it being walls is you'd have a polished andesite directly outside of that light blue wall. But then you'd have the 2 walls below and the 1 above. And I'm going to confirm, okay, I need blocks behind those 2 walls, but it should look like this as of right now. Ooh, that is cursed. On the sides where you have this wall just above the, kind of the top corners of the windows, you're going to bring this particular wall up with 2 blocks. Extend forward with a wall, in with 2 blocks, forward with a wall, and then you'll connect together from there with blocks. And I'm also going to bring those blocks back a row to fill in the little gaps you'll have. You can kind of see how it's starting to shape up a little bit. I'm going to fill in the top. As I mentioned, I filled 1 row further back just to fill in this kind of gap above those walls. I'm going to fill another row up, at least on the top row. Like so. The center 3 cobble deep set I'll bring up by 1 on that back row, like so. I'll then from there go out with a wall, back with a block, out with a block, back, out with a wall, back with 3 blocks, back with a wall, in with a block, back 1, in 1, back with a wall, and then you'll connect together with blocks from there. And again, if you look from above, you'll have a fairly perfect circle. Guess what? You're copying that whole thing 6 more times. This build and... I was going to say the next one, but that would be Patrick's house. The chum bucket. I had real issues with finding images for specific parts. Really, the only part for this one is the top. I'll explain that in a sec. But, yeah, I'll talk about that in the chum bucket because I struggled to find 2 particular references that I needed. I'll explain how I found them because it's funny, actually. This one I just never did. But... anyway, that should give you this. And you can check and you can see that shaping looks pretty good and everything looks to be lining up. You can kind of just take like a fly around and you can see hopefully if anything is off, but it shouldn't be. Really the one thing I would check is just like the tops of the walls here to make sure you got no gaps. That's why another reason we fill the blocks behind is because it'll actually connect better that way. But yeah. The only other change only other thing we're gonna do is a block below the top, fill in the top with spruce planks. I swear there is an episode where Squidward comes onto the roof with a, like, not a lawn chair, but like a beach chair, and just lays down, and I could not find the image from that. So I don't know if I just made that up, but I swear it exists. Anyway, on the top, just kind of on the rows of 3, moving in from the first and last blocks, I'll place walls, just to kind of almost mirror the wall shape that we have to make the circle on the outside. You can add them here if you wanted, you can mess around with it. I didn't really think too hard, because you're not going to see this probably anyway. But, that's the house done. Now, one more thing, if you care about the pathway, I will go over this again. This one is just pale oak wood. And really starting from the build, I left a gap of 2, which would I guess be a gap of 1 away from the grid line. So it'd be 2 from this though. 1, 2, center 3, I'll have a pale oak wood row going sideways. And then I just repeatedly left gaps of 2. And this would also help you get the spacing to the road. I have 4 of these lines. Like so. And then I'd have a 1 block gap and then the road would start here. But yeah, that's kind of personal choice, but... anyway, that was pretty simple. Once you've done that, ladies and gentlemen, that is Squidward's house complete. Wow, that was 15 minutes, really? I figured it was going to be short, but I was like, it'll be like 22, maybe. But wow, yeah, that's shocking. So for Patrick's house, I want to talk about this quickly before I end. As I showed in the little map tour, you can see it moving, actually. That's funny. I'm going to show you how to do what is currently happening with it right now. How I made this work. It's not going to be overly complicated, and it's also not going to be overly good, and you'll see what I mean by that when we get there. But, anyway, yeah, that should hopefully be a fun one, and it'll be both versions I will show as well, separately, so if you don't want one or don't want the animation, then, you know, that's cool. But anyway, once you're done that, ladies and gentlemen, that is Squidward's house complete. I already said that. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, have a fantastic rest of your day or night, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.